Welcome, Middlers, to the Medium in the Middle podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I take you on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual exploration. I am a Reiki master teacher, a spiritual and business mentor, and of course, a psychic medium. And I am here to share my story and help you tap into your extraordinary abilities. Join me every Wednesday as we dive into the realms of intuition, energy healing, and all things mystical. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just dipping your toes into the magical waters, this podcast is your go-to source for inspiration, guidance, and a whole lot of lessons and laughter along the way. Let's get started. Hello, Middlers. Welcome to episode 283. My name is Stephanie. I am the medium in the middle. Welcome if you are new, and welcome back if you're a middler. Today we're talking about psychic information. So this is the Medium in the Middle podcast, where I've been sharing my journey into mediumship since 2019. I started developing in 2018, and I would say the first few years were very mediumship focused. I did get some psychic information here and there, but not too much. And psychic information is just future information. You're going to have 2 kids. You're going to this. And just to be clear, psychic information is just as it stands right now. So how your life and energy and trajectory are going right now, if everything stays the exact same, this is a possibility. But if you are a nurse today and you had a psychic reading and they told you a bunch of things, and then tomorrow you decided you wanted to quit nursing, everything they told you yesterday could now not be true because you decided to change your path. So psychic information is very, very subjective, which is why I don't like it. So I usually don't ask for psychic information. I am the type of person that I don't want to know. I don't want to know things. I don't want to know things for you. I don't want to know things for me. Pregnancies are the thing that I started to get a lot of. That was kind of energy. I chalked it up to be, oh, you're going to have a girl. I would tell people they were pregnant before they were pregnant. I would tell people they were having a girl before they could even know what the gender was. I was telling my friends they're going to have 2 boys, and they now have 2 boys. Things like that, just the usual. So I would say specifically over the last 4 years, I have been working on developing my psychic, dipping my toe into this information, maybe, possibly wanting a little bit of information. And I found this all really came together when I started pulling cards. Again, if you've been on the pod for a while, I used to pull a card on the podcast, and it was so that I could learn the cards, and then I was trying to learn how to interpret them and just practice pulling cards, and I did that for years. I just practiced pulling cards because I didn't really know what I was doing. Then I started offering card readings here and there, and then people were like, I really like your card readings. Can I just book card readings? And I was like, okay, I could do that. So then I offered card readings, and then I had people be like, hey, can you do parties for us? Can you do a bachelorette? And I thought, I guess I could. And then I would do parties. And then all of this other information started to come through when I'm doing card readings. So it's been a long 4 years of developing, learning, trusting. And I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but one thing that I've been trying to say is because I'm psychic. So my friends will say, how did you know that? Because I'm psychic. Someone will say to me, how did you know that was going to happen? Because I'm psychic. How did you know that? Because I'm psychic. And it got to the point where I was saying to my friends, don't make me say it again. It's because I'm psychic. I know these things. And I know that sounds very cocky, but I wasn't doing it out of like, oh my God, I'm so right. Of course, because I'm psychic. It was more of I had to hear myself. That throat chakra, baby. I had to say it, and then I had to hear it. How was I right? Because I'm psychic. How did I know that was happening? Because I'm psychic. In the same way, 1 + 1 is 2. How did I know that? Because I received the psychic information. So I started to practice saying that because I knew my throat had to say it and I knew my ears had to hear it. How did I know that? Because I'm psychic. How did I know that was going to happen? Because I'm psychic. So this has been going on for years and years and years. So today's episode is going to be a story where psychic information hijacked my Reiki session. I want to share this with you just to show you about how development works, how information can come through, and how you get to decide what you do with it, how you get to experiment with it. And for anyone developing, also knowing that this takes time. And I cannot stress enough, it's been 4 years. Before we jump into the full episode, I have a few announcements. You have 2 more days to sign up for my business workshop happening this Saturday, October 25th. The Strategic Business Planning Masterclass. I host it once a year. I love this course so much. I am a businesswoman first, and I am teaching you how to have a successful spiritual or small business, how to plan your year, how to plan your income, how to make sure you make more income next year, how to hit the income goals that you want to make. We cover it all. You will start the work on Saturday, but you're going to keep working on this over the next 4 to 6 weeks, I would say. It's kind of a rolling project that you're always working on. You have 2 more days to register. You can join live on Saturday or you can catch the replay. The replay is just as good for this workshop, I would definitely say, especially because you can pause it when you need to. I introduce what we're doing, I introduce how to do it, and then I give you a little bit of time during the workshop just to start in case any questions come up. So when you're doing it at home, you can just pause it and wait for you to finish before you continue watching. And then also, you're going to save that replay, and then you're going to watch it next year, and the year after, and the year after. The endless returning ROI, return on your investment, because you're going to buy this once and use it every single October to make sure you make more money every year in business. That's how you grow in business. Not a secret, people, not a secret. Anyways, I'll leave the links down below in the show notes. My next Reiki Level 1 training is November 8th and 9th. The next Reiki Level 2 is November 22 and 23. And the last Mediumship Practice Circle of the year is happening on November 15th. There will be no Mediumship Practice Circle in December, but we will be back to the monthly Mediumship Practice Circles in January. Again, all levels are welcome. It could be your first time. Last circle, we had 6 new people or more. I counted 6 hands really fast, but yeah, there was a lot of new people. It was our first time ever practicing, and it was amazing. It was so good. Anyways, as always, all the links you need will be down below in the show notes. So I'm medium in the middle, and you guys know I've been developing mediumship since 2018. And you guys know I don't offer mediumship readings. If you want to know why, I have episodes on it. You can literally search why I don't do mediumship readings and it'll pop up. I have lots of reasons why. And I still stand behind them, even though I am changing my entire schedule for January. Anyways, I don't do mediumship readings like you can't book them on my website. I do mediumship readings all the time for people. For friends, for regular clients, for friends of friends, for people visiting, for random people at the bar. It doesn't matter. But I definitely have a few regular clients, especially in Banff, that, if they need something, if I know you, if you're my friend, of course I will read for you. I'm always like, book an appointment. Book an appointment. Come see me. So there is this one girl in town who comes to see me very often. She's been coming for years and years and years. She's a regular client. And a few years ago, there was a very big tragedy in Banff, and she lost her partner. So after his death, she started to see me quite often, and we were working through a lot of things, and almost every single time she came, we would channel him. And I always said, do you want to talk to... We need to give him a name. For the sake of this episode, we'll call him Kyle. So she would come in for her Reiki sessions, and at the beginning of the Reiki sessions, I would say, hey, if Kyle shows up, do you want to talk to Kyle today? And she was always like, yes, obviously, I always want to talk to him. And I said, okay, I just always like to ask. Consent, guys, is important. You always have to ask. She has come to see me multiple times, and I still ask every single time, hey, do you want to talk to Kyle? Hey, do you want to talk to Kyle today? And she says every time, yes, of course, I always want to talk to him. So it has now been a few years, and again, every time she comes, we talk to Kyle. And he's done some really amazing things for her. He's sent some really amazing signs. He's done some really cool things in my office that have been spooky. This time when she walked in the room, she came for a Reiki session. I didn't ask her if she wanted to talk to Kyle. usually it's like the first thing I say, like, hey, want to talk to Kyle? Or I'll be like, hey, Kyle's here. Or I'll be like, oh, I have a message for you. Kyle already told me. Or like if it's her birthday or if it's something, like he'll usually tell me. And then when I open the door, I'm like, hey, like Kyle says happy birthday. But this time I opened the door and there was no Kyle. And I saw her on the schedule. I didn't have any messages before. And I didn't ask her if she wanted to talk to Kyle. So I thought, this is weird because I always ask her. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe she doesn't need to talk to him. Maybe we're just doing Reiki today. Like literally every single time she comes, we talk to him. Maybe she doesn't need to talk to him today. So it was very interesting. She had just been traveling and she came back to Banff. So I started to see all these images. And it was image after image after image. And it was really random. And because I have this relationship with her, I knew that I could tell her this information and we could, figure it out ourselves. So I said, hey, I'm receiving some random information. I said, was your birthday in May? And she was like, yeah. And I said, was it on May 12th? And she said, yeah. And I said, did you do like some type of like circle for your birthday? Like, did you go into the mountains and do a circle? And was your sister there? And she was laying there. She's like, actually, yeah, we did this. And then we did go out and we did like a little circle in the mountains and we were playing music. And she was kind of like, why? Like, why are you asking? And I was like, I don't know. Like, they're just showing me all these pieces of information. I see you here. I see you there. I see you doing this. I see you doing this. I don't exactly know why, but it was all around her birthday. And it wasn't coming from Kyle. Like it almost felt like remote viewing or like a show in my mind but it wasn't like Kyle talking to me. I know when Spirit's telling me something because they'll be like, they saw you do this. So then it got very metaphoric and we started talking about, finishing off a chapter, closing this book and starting a new book and moving away. And then I said, did you like either physically bury something or is this again a metaphor about like burying the past or burying a box or burying. She's like, yeah, we did bury a box. And it was just really weird. I'm not going to lie. It was really random. I knew all of this information and I didn't know why. It was just random pieces of information that were all true, that have all happened a few months ago about a birthday, about this, about that. But I didn't quite understand why I was receiving this information. And then at the end of it, I thought, oh, Spirit was doing a little experiment and where they like to test me every once in a while and give me a bunch of information and see what I do with it. So the session continued and I was like, sorry, I don't know why I'm receiving all this information. Like, I'm going to just stop for now. So I was holding her leg and then finally Kyle shows up and I was like, there you are. It's been 45 minutes. But I hadn't asked her permission yet. I was holding her leg on her calf because I was doing Reiki. And I was trying to think, how can I now ask for consent when I didn't ask at the start of my session? And if you guys know me, I am a stickler for you have to ask at the start of your session. Anything you're adding to Reiki, ask at the start of your session. It's not like, hey, your mom's here. Do you want mediumship messages? That's not consent. You need to say, hey, I'm a medium. If anything comes through today, would you like messages? You say that at the beginning of your session, not in the middle. Also, you always want to give people a way to say no. Hey, I'm also a medium. Would you like messages today or would you prefer a silent session? You'd prefer a silent session? No problem. Lay down and get comfy. We always want to make it easy for people to say yes and easy for people to say no. So, being the consent stickler that I am, I was now in my head, I'm like, oh no, I didn't ask her consent and I didn't say anything about Kyle when she walked in and I didn't ask her if she wanted to talk to Kyle, but now he's here and how am I going to ask her? I can't just start talking about him because I was just saying all this random information to her already. How weird. I was holding her leg, doing Reiki, and I said, do you want to talk to Kyle today? That's how I decided to ask. And then I started laughing because I was like, what the hell was that? And she starts laughing and she was like, of course I do. I always do. And I was like, yeah, I know you always do. I just didn't ask before and I was wondering why I didn't ask before. And now he's here and he has a bunch of stuff to say. But the way that I just was like, do you want to talk to Kyle today? I was like, what, Steph? So I've had this story written down in my podcast note on my phone for quite a while now. And I wanted to share it for two reasons. Number one, the psychic information. You guys know card readings are coming. I have not sent out the link, but it will be going to clients only. So check your emails. That's the only way you'll be able to book. It will not be on my website. I'm sorry, they are going to be very, very limited availability. And they will be launching early November. I wanted to share this for the development purposes of it, of how information comes through, how sometimes it can be random, how sometimes you don't know what it's for, how long, again, things take. I cannot stress enough how long development takes. I've been working on psychic information for 4 years and understanding it and getting control of it and figuring out what it means, and is it imagery or is it this or is it that? And I also wanted to share the experience about the do you want to talk to Kyle? Because it was so funny. And I literally thought at the end of that session, the podcast is going to laugh at this. The podcast is going to be like, what the hell? Steph, after, however many years it's been, you think I'd have this down pat, but I was like scared or shy to ask her. So just a fun little story for you. Again, just to confirm, if you are developing, I like to think about mediumship and psychic as two separate buckets. So mediumship is spirit told you the information. Your dad told me XYZ. Your grandpa showed me ba ba ba. Psychic information it can be remote viewing. It can be something for the future. It feels like kind of universal or oneness energy. It can feel like predictions or something that's going to come, but it doesn't come from a person. It wasn't, Dad told me this. It was, this is kind of thing. So you can start to practice how you know the information or who told you that information. So either how do you know that information or who told you that information? Because once you know your buckets of psychic and mediumship, you can decide where you are. You can focus on only one bucket. There are a lot of schools of thought around this. Some people say to stay in one bucket at a time and to focus on one thing at a time and to develop one thing at a time. All of those things are very helpful skills to have, and I definitely recommend developing that way. But they probably will start off blended together and you don't know you have buckets because all the buckets are in the pool. Eventually you're like, oh, this is this and this is this. And you can start to be more specific, and you can also start to use those skills more intentionally. This is how I can now turn on and off the mediumship. I can turn on and off the psychic information. I can turn on and off my intuition when I want to because I know what bucket I'm working in, and I'm only working in that bucket. Nothing else. My hand is not in any other bucket. I'm only in whatever bucket I'm working in specifically. So I hope this helped you with the mediumship and psychic distinction, give you a fun little cute story about spirit and how random information can be true and not useless, but it was definitely useless for her, and it was a lesson for me. She knew all of these things already. I wasn't providing any guidance or messages or helpful things. She was just kind of like, how do you know that? Why do you know that? And I was like, oh, this is for me. This isn't for you. This is a lesson for me. And on that note, also knowing when things are a lesson for you. My clients teach me things all the time. My clients give me lessons all the time. My guides, my spirit team, they'll give me lessons through my clients all the time. And it's just recognizing like, oh, this was for me today. Thank you for participating. Here's a message from Kyle as a thank you gift for helping me with my development. As always, all the links you need are down below in the show notes. I am booking in to the end of November, so if you want to book any appointments for the rest of the year, I highly recommend booking them now before readings open, and then my schedule will fill up for December. I am changing my schedule for January, so it will be closed until I fully open 2026. You can work with me virtually worldwide, wherever you are, or I also offer services here in Banff, Alberta. Come see me in real life. I will leave all the links you need down below in the show notes for the business course on October 25th. I do it every year, and then I do sell it on my website until the end of the year, and then I take it off. Because at that point, it's too late. Way too late. You can still catch the replay if you're listening to this after October 25th. It'll be on my website until the end of 2025. Reiki courses for November and December will be your last chances to learn Reiki in 2025. And the last Mediumship Practice Circle of the year is on November 15th. I will be back next Wednesday with a new episode for you. I release new episodes every Wednesday. So if you haven't subscribed, press subscribe to that podcast. We talk about psychic, mediumship, energy, laughs, lessons, woo-woo, cheese, dogs, lots of random stuff around here. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, when I see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.